Now we got to talk about the buyout market because we have names like Ben Simmons potentially going to the Clippers or maybe the Cavs. So let's talk about it. So the buyout market is going to be interesting because, again, of the new CBA, I know we keep talking about it, but there are restrictions. And basically, although the Wizards, just giving you, kind of a heads up, although the Wizards have said that they're not planning to waive Chris Middleton or Malcolm Brogdon and stuff like that, even if those players did get waived, they cannot sign with, let's just say, the Phoenix Suns, for example, who I deemed as one of the losers of the trade deadline because they weren't able to make, the moves that they wanted. And so you would think, oh, if Chris Middleton can go there on a veteran minimum, despite the fact that he's had his injury history, we know that he can have an impact, right? But he can't sign there because of the CBA, because of the amount of money that he was making. He can't sign with a team that's, over the tax apron and stuff like that. So stuff like that is, hindering teams from being able to sign certain players. And so besides that, let's talk about some of the names who might be signed and might be bought out. And the first player we're going to talk about is Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is one of the players who are reportedly working on a buyout with the Nets. And he's going to have meetings with the Clippers, the Cavs, and there was one other team who was going to have a meeting with him. I forget which team it was. Why do I feel like it was the Atlanta Hawks? But I'm not positive on that. Regardless, he apparently said he would like to go to a contender. And so when he gets bought out, because they are finalizing the buyout, so it's going to happen, when he gets bought out, I am struggling with where he would go. Here's why. He just seems like the type of guy who likes the Clippers in terms of the market, the weather, the lifestyle, kind of being in a big market and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like lifestyle-wise, that fits him better. And I don't know him, but I'm just saying based on what we know. But for some reason, I feel like the Cavs are where he's going to end up. I don't know why, but I just have this funny feeling. And so I think I'm going to go with my instincts and go with the Cavs. That Ben Simmons is going to the Cavs, and the Cavs are loaded. I understand Ben Simmons. Obviously, his reputation has been very different since the 76ers, right? He hasn't played a ton. He hasn't, been an all-star since then and all that kind of stuff. And so I get all of that. But Ben Simmons is still, 28 maybe? He's still technically in his prime. He still technically is an all-star caliber player. Now, let me, say that with a grain of salt because, again, not that he's played like an all-star since Philly, but we know he has been an all-star. So you're getting that type of player on your team for a veteran minimum. If the Cavs can get him, it's a win-win situation. It's low risk, high reward potentially. And they already got DeAndre Hunter. What a steal at the deadline. The team is already loaded. Watch out. Watch out. Seriously. The Cavs could be doing something crazy over there. Again, I'm not saying Ben Simmons is going to be 30 minutes a night, but if Ben Simmons can give him even 10 minutes and pass the ball and, run the offense while maybe Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can get a rest, I mean, that's pretty nice. So Ben Simmons is obviously the first name to look out for because, again, he is finalizing a buyout. The next candidate is Reggie Jackson, who I believe was already waived by... He was traded, I'm trying to remember which team he was traded to, and he was waived. So he is officially available. Now, Reggie Jackson, obviously, at this point, I believe he's 34 or 35. So, he's nearing, the end of his career. And we know that in his prime, he was a pretty good point guard. He did, some things well. And so we just had to think about what team could use a backup point guard or a third string point guard. And I'm trying to think which team would be best for him to fit on. He was already on Denver, and I would say Denver, but he was already there, so it's not going to be Denver. But maybe a team like the Houston Rockets who could just, use some more veteran presence, stuff like that, just to coach up the young guys. I don't know how much playing time he would get on the Rockets, but I feel like that's kind of a place where he might, end up, just because wherever he goes, I don't expect him to get a ton of playing time, but maybe he could be a locker room presence for them. And so I guess just keep the Houston Rockets on your radar, something like that. Someone said Ben Simmons would not be a good fit with the Cavs. Well, again, it's low risk, potential high reward. Like, they have the roster spot open. And again, if you're getting Ben Simmons for a veteran minimum, I understand for his contract now, for the $40 million, you don't want to take the chance. But you have to fill that roster spot. Well, you don't have to, but you're going to fill that roster spot anyway. And Ben Simmons is technically, by the, standards of NBA player accomplishments, is the best player on the buyout market, just by his accomplishments. So, I mean, you take a chance, you sign him, and if he doesn't work out, you don't really have to play him. And he, it's not like a large contract. So I just think it's a good chance for the Cavs to take, because it could be something really good for them. Someone said buyout markets don't usually move the needle. Yeah, I mean, like, it just depends, but that's why I'm saying, like, it's rare that you get a player like Ben Simmons. Again, I understand he hasn't been that guy since Philly, but, like, he still has the potential, right? Like, it's rare that you get a guy like that on the buyout market, still technically in his prime. So that is something I believe that, could happen. So Reggie Jackson, potentially the Houston Rockets, in my opinion. I'm not sure. And then I believe Josh Richardson was already waived, or he's going to be waived. And so he is someone else who, in his prime, I feel like he was a good player. Like, he could defend very well. That was basically, what he was known for best, is his defense. And then obviously he could score a bit. Obviously now, kind of like Reggie Jackson, he's a bit older. I think he's like 32 or 33. So he's closer to the end than the beginning. It's so sad to say that. But, like, closer to the end than the beginning for his, career. And so I just feel like a team that is a contender could use someone like him, because he could have an impact. So if I'm thinking teams, maybe like Denver, because we were just talking about how Denver needs depth badly. They need depth. And Josh Richardson has had a few injuries, over the course of his career, but Denver needs to sign somebody. So I'm going to say Josh Richardson to Denver, because they got to get something done. They got to get somebody on the buyout market. And then somebody said Dwight is the best buyout guy. Well, I guess technically you could sign Dwight Howard. Can Dwight Howard still be Dwight Howard at this point? Because is he like 40 now? He must be like 39, 40. I know that he was playing overseas, and so, like, he's still in basketball shape. And so that's good. I don't know if he's going to get an NBA contract, to be honest, but he's definitely interesting, someone to think about. And then Bones Highland is someone who I think already got waived. And Bones Highland is very interesting because he's still pretty young. And we know when he first was on Denver and he started getting playing time, like, he was actually really good. Like, Bones Highland was getting highlight after highlight, and then there was like some kind of fallout, and then he ended up on the Clippers eventually, and the stories now he is on the buyout market. So I definitely do think he could have an impact on the team, because again, he's still in his prime, and he hasn't had, like, unlike Ben Simmons, although I'm not comparing an all-star to someone who hasn't been an all-star, but, like, compared to Ben Simmons, he has not had the injury history. So if you're worried about health, you're not going to really have that issue with Bones Highland, to the same extent and concerns you have about Ben Simmons. So Bones Highland could be an interesting person, or player rather, for a team like, I kind of feel like the Bucks, he would be interesting on. Maybe the 76ers, maybe the Magic. Because the Magic could use some more scoring, and he is someone who will get a bucket. Like, he will create his own shot, get a bucket, and the Magic definitely have the defense, on lock, but scoring is something that they need to work on. So maybe Orlando Magic doesn't sound too bad, to be honest. So I'm not mad at that. Love the channel, and hopefully my Warriors can get a buyout player. We need more help for Steph. Thank you, I appreciate that. The Warriors will definitely try to be active in the buyout market, I would assume. I think they would be looking for a shooter just because now with adding Jimmy, and they obviously have Draymond and Kevon Looney and GP2, none of those are like typical three-point shooters, right? Like you still have Buddy Hield, but compared to the teams that Steph, has had before, this era, I guess you want to say, you obviously always had Klay Thompson. But even besides that, you had, in their first stint of a championship run, you had a guy like Mo Spates, who we knew could shoot the ball. And Sean Livingston, although he wasn't a three-point shooter, mid-range king. I can't remember a single shot that Sean Livingston missed. If you know, you know. So, like, they always had people who could score and stuff like that and create their own shot and, those kind of things. And then the second championship era for the Warriors, they had guys like, obviously Jordan Poole was going crazy that year, shooting-wise. But they also had guys like Otto Porter Jr. and stuff like that. So if I was the Warriors, I would be looking for some kind of shooter on the market, hopefully a three-point shooter, but someone who could just score the ball and you can count on them to score efficiently. So if I was the Warriors, that's what I would be looking for. Let's see, Kyrie to the Magic. I don't know about that. I don't think that's happening, but Kyrie to the Magic would be so interesting, but I definitely don't think that is happening. So then who are the other buyout candidates? Because there are not too many, actually. Like, there's not a ton of them, which is going to be very interesting also. Daniel Tice was already waived, I believe. There was some kind of report or rumor, I guess, that he might go play overseas. I could see that happening, but at the same time, like, if I were to pick an NBA team for him to go on, I don't know why, but I say the Thunder. Like, the Thunder could just use some more size and centers, which is kind of crazy when you have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, two very good players. But I just feel like they could use another backup big. So if I'm going to pick a team for him, I'll go with the Thunder. That is who I think. And then I'm trying to think who else was on the buyout market. Because, like I said, the buyout market was slim. Like, there's not a ton of players. There were some names on there who they were thinking could potentially be bought out, but we don't know. Like, someone like Seth Curry was a name that came up, but there are no reports that he's getting bought out anytime soon. There was Taj Gibson. Shout out to Taj Gibson. Still in the league, still doing his thing. Doesn't play much, obviously, but, like, he's still in the league. So his name came up. Javonte Green's name came up, but there aren't any reports right now that he's getting, bought out or waived or whatever. But he is someone who definitely could help a team because he is low-key a player who plays with, well, not even low-key, but plays with high energy, intensity. Like, he will go hard on defense. He can dunk the ball. Like, he has power to him. And so I could see him having an impact on a team like the Knicks. Like, I feel like if he gets bought out or waived, I feel like the Knicks would be a good team, a good fit for him, because I feel like he has that energy. Like, the way the Knicks play, I feel like he plays. So I guess look out for him if he gets bought out to go to the Knicks. And that's really it, to be honest, because, like I said, the buyout market is a bit slim, but I just want to go on here and talk about the potential buyout market because, listen, trade deadline is over. Now we are going to see what the rest of the season looks like for all these teams. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this live and see you soon.